Hello, welcome to Collaborative Connections podcast sponsored by KLM Consulting Marketing and Management. This podcast is designed for small business owners and entrepreneurs looking to grow, streamline, and succeed. I'm your host, Kelly Lorenzen, and I'm a business owner and passionate advocate helping small and family owned businesses. Running a business can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. On this show, we bring industry experts and other fellow entrepreneurs and thought leaders to share insights, strategies, and real life success stories. From marketing and business operations to building powerful partnerships, we cover tools and tactics that help small businesses thrive. So, whether you're launching, scaling, or looking for fresh ideas, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode and start building something amazing together. So, I have two amazing guests I'd love to introduce you to today. Todd, Vigil, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kelly.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I was getting a call.
Perfect timing.
I was a longtime marketing director. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I worked for the Phoenix Symphony, the Herb Museum, and Barrow Neurological Foundation for over a decade. And in 2021, I, like many others, noodled through an idea that I had thought about a lot during COVID and launched my company called EleeHub. And we work exclusively with small to mid-sized nonprofits with the Google Ad Grant program. And if you don't know what that is, Google provides up to $10,000 a month in free advertising for most 501c3 organizations. And the challenge is a lot of them just don't know about it, or they just don't know how to use it. And so we kind of fill a niche between an agency and a consultant and manage that for them for a low monthly fee. Yeah.
Thank you. It's such a neat program, and it's so amazing the work you do for nonprofits, and we'll get into all of that in the show. My second guest, Julia Davis, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Kelly. I started in business development in 2007, right out of college. I landed a job in direct marketing and was doing outside sales for 6 months and then realized I really enjoyed it. So I started my own marketing firm in 2007. And that grew to, do trade show and roadshow style events until COVID, when we had to pivot to more essential items due to the pandemic. And now I help oversee, manage, and develop different business owners that do all sorts of different programs and sales opportunities and leadership development and things of that nature, working with a multitude of clients and programs and products. But I've definitely had to shift a lot of different ways and adapt to different things to be able to do what I'm doing today. Where my primary job now is coaching, developing, and building out programs and products of things that would work for different industry chapters where they can utilize different. Like I'm working on an event coordinating thing for a charity program that I'm working on, things like that. So just overall business consulting and business development today.
Yep. See how we all have to pivot. I think entrepreneurs, when they get into business ownership, they think they have to be stuck in this exact thing that they started their business. And if you get the right consulting, you'll learn very quickly that you can massage and change into, different niches, and like Todd's very specialized, something very broad or something very specialized. So it's kind of cool to hear all of us have a marketing background and how we, use different things to help clients grow. It's really cool. So this quick segment is rapid fire. I like to get the juices flowing before we jump into all the juicy, good tips for business owners. So I'm going to ask you a quick question and just give me 1 or 2 word answers. Ocean or mountains, Todd?
I can't.
You can't choose, Julia?
I'd say ocean.
What's a business tool you can't live without, Todd?
My iPhone.
Probably
Julia.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's new favorite. What do you like to do for fun when you're not working, Todd?
I love the outdoors, hiking, travel. Those are the big ones.
Julia?
Anything near water.
Yes, me too. Any travel destination, as long as it has a water nearby, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope now your juices are flowing a little bit. I'd like to jump into some insights. Business ownership, as we talked, is can be a struggle and can be fun and exciting and dramatic and very roller coaster ride. I'm hopeful that people listening will gain some insights into business ownership that can help them. So can you tell us a little bit in your industry right now, Todd, any trends you're seeing, challenges that are happening right now? All of your clients are nonprofits. What's the current trend with nonprofits right now, or a challenge they're having?
Well, certainly, all the disruption with AI and automation, but specifically in paid search, which is what the Google Ad Grant program we have, it's very disruptive. We've got all of this now with, automated summaries and traffic shifting and people using ChatGPT more like Google. So it's really an ever-changing landscape. And what we just tell people is, I think at the end of the day, that quality on the internet isn't going to win. And so we just need to spend the time making sure that what we've got on the internet is quality and useful, and that will help me at the end of the day. I think the nice thing I do see about this in the nonprofit world is sometimes nonprofits are a little slow to adapt technology, but the surveys that we're seeing out there is that's not the case with AI. So they are embracing this, using it at much higher rates than kind of previous disruptions.
That's really good. It's really good to hear. And having you as a partner, to help them along the way is good. You talked about my brain went to authenticity, providing good value educational materials on the internet for sure. I agree with you. Julia, in your industry, you guys are in direct sales. What's some trends or insights you're seeing right now?
AI for sure. Like Todd said, I think AI is changing the game for all business, just for follow-up and recruiting and all the things. I think AI is going to be a huge part of the future. As far as people, based, when we deal and work with a lot of younger people, I'm noticing a challenge with their ability to clearly communicate and be, direct in communication, just because I think a lot of stuff has been done over text over the last 15 to 20 years. So people aren't used to having uncomfortable conversations face to face. And that is a problem that I've seen probably over the last 5 years, where we've done a lot of coaching on critical and tough conversations and how to have those properly instead of avoiding them, because it's very easy to hide behind a cell phone screen these days and just text your opinion instead of picking up the phone and calling somebody. So I've seen that really decline in the last, 10, 15 years.
So it sounds like we're going to need a lot more communication tools and education around how to communicate, because we still have to communicate with people, even with all the AI takeover, right? We still have to have normal, just like this, we have to have normal conversations with human beings. So I think that's going to be a big shift is, people are going to have to use AI, but get the training and tools from other real humans on those critical thinking, critical skills of communication for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, in your business journey along the way, tell me something that your younger self would be proud of, Todd.
Oh, Well, I joked, I went to college and I got 2 degrees, one in marketing and management, but it took me 15 years to get into marketing. So I think the marketing major was suppressed for a couple of decades, but I think that marketing student is now alive and well.
Excited. You finally get to use part of your degree. Julia, what about you?
It's funny that you said that, because that was, I took no business classes in college. I was actually a film major in Southern California. And I did business and marketing for 18 years. And then one of the chairmen of the company that I work with was like, hey, can you do some video? I was like, funny. Yeah, I probably can do video, actually. I got to dig back deep into my brain. But yeah, I do know how to do that. So it's funny how it kind of cycles around, like you said. But something that I would say my younger self would probably be the most proud of is using my skill for good, right? Like using the skill that I have to be able to do sales. We did a campaign with a nonprofit in our community to raise money for 950 kids to be able to have weekend food who are on the free and reduced lunch program. And I was able to use my marketing skills to record video and do a whole campaign. And we covered all 950 kids just in the month of August. And we're able to do that. And so I just think using whatever skill set you have to make an impact for other people, I think it would be the thing that I'd be the most proud of.
That's so nice. Isn't it nice when you can, your purpose and everything is like doing good for the world?
Yeah, it feels different, it feels different when Todd does this every week, I'm sure, helping nonprofits. But, when you're in sales and sometimes you're selling product or whatever, you're like, hey, I can use the sales skill to actually, benefit hundreds of other people too in this other way. It makes you feel different.
Absolutely. I think people can, once you find your kind of underlying purpose, you can either donate your time or money to do that underlying purpose, or you can form your whole business around it, and fulfill that underlying why. My big, huge why is making sure small businesses have a fighting chance at success. It's why we only work with small and family-owned businesses. I want my kids to have a small business, their kids to have a small business. We come from a very long line of entrepreneurs. And so if I have some sort of, yes, I'm a for-profit, but I'm helping, my underlying purpose of like making sure that that's even an option for the next generation.
Yeah.
So speaking of business ownership, there's lots and roller coaster rides. There's lots of lessons along the way. I'm sure you guys have had to learn the hard way. What's a lesson that you wished you learned sooner, Todd?
I think for me it was prioritizing cash flow, which I think any business is going to say. But I think specifically it was really understanding the sales cycle and how long it takes to get from a yes to that first payment in there. And I think that's just something that, just due to the nature of nonprofits and what we do, it can be a week or it could be several months in there, and just making sure that we plan for that cushion and start working on things like automation that can help us cut that time down to get the client some wins as quickly as possible. And so that's something we're working through now.
Yeah, that's huge. Most entrepreneurs are not good at numbers, finances, marketing and finances, right? Are the two things that most entrepreneurs are the worst at. So knowing to pay attention to your cash flow and the timing of how long it's going to take to make those sales and get the money in the bank. That's really good. Julie, what about you? A lesson you learned the hard way that you wished you knew sooner?
I don't know how much time we have, but
I know so many. I know, me too.
Yeah, I was like the queen of learning the hard way, like running into the wall over and over. I'm pretty stubborn and sure by nature, which is, can work against me in some ways. So I think the thing I had to learn the hard way was, take advice from people who know what they're talking about. I think a lot of times I second guess myself, or I second guess the advice and was like, yeah, they're telling me this, but I'm going to try it this other way. I'm going to see if I can ingenuity type of mentality of, can I create a new way to do this? When in reality, like just do what they're telling you to do, and it probably will work. So I wasted a lot of time and energy rebuttaling and fighting experts when I probably should have just listened to their advice and done it, and it would have saved me years of my life. So.
I know. I finally learned my lesson to surround myself with people smarter than me.
Yeah, absolutely. Who you surround yourself with matters for sure.
Everybody on my team is smarter than me in something that I'm not.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. If you could go back to the first year in your business, Todd, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a great question. I think it would be, I was very cautious in the proof of concept phase. And so we kind of grew to about 10 clients and just let it coast for a while to see if it was going to work and if retention was there, and we enjoyed it. So I think, it wasn't wrong. I was still working full time. So that was certainly, one of the factors, but looking back, I probably should have scaled quicker and gotten some of those things knocked out as soon as possible. So that's probably the biggest thing. But at the time, it was probably the right decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we all should scale at how it fits in our life, right? And what our goals are and our plans. Not everybody should scale 10 times, 13 times, whatever, a year. Like that's, people burn out too fast that way. So you probably did it the way you were supposed to. Julia, what about you?
I would probably say, I would give someone the advice that time tells all truths. Sometimes it just takes a while for something to come out, but you don't have to prove somebody right or prove somebody wrong. Time will tell the truth. So you can just kind of wait it out, and maybe don't send the email. just let it pan out. Because I was kind of the opposite of Todd, where I maybe had a little too much urgency in some cases, where I would get myself into trouble because I would work so quickly that my brain would kind of be ahead of some of the process. And I think I needed to slow down a bit and just realize that it doesn't matter what somebody thinks or doesn't think. Time will tell. Just relax and do your best,
That's good. That's a good advice.
I was way younger, I'm 22. So I was just full of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I was a lot different in my first business than I am in this business for sure.
Well, whatever, it'll play out. Don't worry about it,
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received as an entrepreneur, Todd? Do you know something stick out in your brain of advice that was a game changer for you?
Yeah, it was my first agency in the nonprofit world. He had said, what gets you from 1 to 10 clients isn't what's going to get you from 10 to 100, and beyond. And so just knowing that and being able to plan ahead and always try to think about that next phase and invest early, to prepare for that. I think that's been a big help, and it certainly has been, I've spent more money than I should on some of these things, but it was preparing for the growth, which, just trying to head off things like lawyers and accountants and systems and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. I always say hire before you actually really need it badly, because then you're more prepared and you can scale more easily. Julia, what about you? A piece of advice that sticks out for you?
Yeah, I have two things that I think about a lot. One, in recruiting specifically, is it's easier to give birth and resurrect the dead. Because sometimes we try to make somebody right for a position when it's just remove them from the position and hire somebody else, and you'll have way better luck. And the other one is something my dad told me when I was younger, and I would go out for a sport or do something I didn't really love, and I would want to quit. He would tell me, don't quit something on your worst day. Make sure if you're going to quit on your best day, because if you have a day that's really great and you still want to quit, you're probably in the wrong industry. But everybody wants to quit on a bad day. So that's normal. But if you want to quit when things are going well. And if you don't want to quit, then you know you're in the right spot.
That is really good advice. Did you know that then, that it was really good advice?
I was annoyed, right? Because I was like in soccer and I hated running. And he was like, look, you score a goal, you quit. And I was like, okay. So when I scored a goal, and then he was like, so how do you feel? I'm like, I'm not quitting. He's like, exactly. He's like, so it wasn't the sport after all. It was just your terrible attitude. I was like, okay, got it. So, I mean, it made more sense as I grew, but I really held on to that because I watched a lot of people quit in their business ventures on really tough days. And I was like, oh, in 2 weeks, you're going to look back and ask yourself why you did that, you know?
It's terrible. I know. And really like spend the time, marinating it in a choice like that. Right.
Yeah.
And when something's going really bad, my sister gave me this advice, like something over here is really bad. Don't make a whole nother life-changing decision because this is going really bad. Like fix this first, let this finish, and then, and then decide on the next life-changing thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big deal. Has there been an influential person in your life, in your business journey? Doesn't have to be in business ownership. Maybe somebody who helped you decide to go into business ownership, or can you think of somebody, like, was it somebody you looked up to as a mentor, or a famous person, or somebody in your network? Todd?
That list could go on and on. I feel like it would be an Oscar speech. But my boss at the Phoenix Symphony, his name was Jim Ward. He was really instrumental in changing how I think and pushing me to go farther. And I think he kind of advised me on starting my own business back then. He's like, this is something that you will be good at when the time comes. So that's certainly been in there. Also a good friend of mine, so just a champion networker. She taught me how to network in my late 20s, and that's probably carried me further than anything else.
Yeah. Now I think most marketing agencies forget to tell people that networking is one of the biggest, especially for entrepreneurs and small business owners, is one of the best things you can do to market your business. And you're so good at it, being out there in the community and getting involved and doing that. So I think that was good advice from your friend. Julia, what about you? And anybody stick out?
I've had the privilege of being around really incredible entrepreneurs in my career. So it would be hard to name just one. There's been so many that have influenced me and pushed me and had tough conversations with me and challenged me and, done what they could to get me on the right track. So all of them have had, an influence on getting me to, I think, where I am today, which I'm so grateful for. I do think going into the world of entrepreneurship, it was like life events that pushed me in that direction, because I realized I wanted to be financially independent on my own after I watched my parents get divorced. And I realized, like, this is not what I don't want to be in a situation where I have to worry about money. I don't want to be in a situation where I have to rely on a significant other for money ever. And it made me really empowered. So it was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. It sounds really messed up, but it moved me in a direction of, I got to achieve something on my own and be able to push myself and really see what I'm personally capable of doing. So that event pushed me into being an entrepreneur, because I knew I couldn't take direction from other people. I knew I wanted to create my own business to be able to be, self-managed.
Right? Or when you've been a business owner as long as we have, you're like unhireable, right?
Not even possible. They'd be like, who are you? You aren't going to do. I'm like, no, this is a waste of time. Like, I need to do that.
We run circles because we have to, right? Time is just running so fast. I know. In between one of the businesses, I was like, maybe I'll go get a real job, quote unquote real job, right? As business owners, we say that. No, I tried. I interviewed. I'm like, this is not gonna. I don't fit in that hole.
It's so hard. It's so hard to go back to thinking, like, okay, I'm punching in and punching out, or like, I don't know that I could do it. I couldn't.
You're like, now that I think about it,
I can do
no.
it.
I know. So it kind of forces us, like, we have to be successful at making money for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So collaboration, networking, it's a big, huge proponent of all of the businesses I've owned, and I know for a lot of clients as well. Any Talk to me about power partners, collaborations, things that have helped you in your business, Todd.
We're still pretty young, so I don't know that I would say power yet, but there's 1.5 million nonprofits in the U.S., so there's a huge market for what we do, and so our success is really we're leaning into the ecosystems that are already supporting nonprofits. So going to nonprofit conferences. I was in Utah last week for the Utah Nonprofit Alliance Conference. I'll be in Oregon next month for theirs. And so leaning into those organizations and offering webinars and consulting and coaching, whatever they, whatever support they need. In addition, there's smaller nonprofit networks or industry specific. We talked about one earlier on the pre-call on this, just looking at that. So we work with a lot of boys and girls clubs and big brothers, big sisters. And so looking at those ecosystems, how can we help support them as we grow our business and help them do help them with their impact.
Yeah. What you do is so important for them in their ecosystem for sure. What about you, Julia? Collaborations or power partnerships or organizations that have really helped grow your business?
Yeah. So a lot of the companies that we work with a broker that has been just incredible for us to work with. And that broker has provided a ton of clients and resources and different things to, what we do. And that brokerage relationship has been just amazing for us and on all the things that we're able to accomplish. And the one for me personally that's helped a ton locally is the House of Shine, which is like a women's leadership, maybe not women's exclusively, but just like a leadership nonprofit locally that has connected me with a lot of other female entrepreneurs that has really helped me build my own personal network outside of the business that I'm in. So that's been very, very helpful as well.
Yeah. And find your tribe, find your community. Todd and I are fortunate to have a ton here locally in Arizona. Local First Arizona, State 48 Foundation is, really big on pushing that we love those collaborations and, and supporting those organizations that support other entrepreneurs and nonprofits. And then you and I met because of the No Women. I met one of your friends and she's like, you have to know her. And I just think that, and Todd and I were at that State 48, a year ago, and then we get to work together after that. I think it's just really important to know that part of your, ecosystem in your business is making sure you maintain and expand your community of people to grow your business. So
Absolutely.
I think something to think about and something to always have in the back of your mind is, what networking groups am I going to? What nonprofits am I supporting? What organizations am I a part of to grow the business for sure? I always say pick those 3, right? Don't get too crazy because then you don't have any time to actually do your business. But are you a part of anything else, Todd, that I didn't mention?
One great one that's here and just kind of random was the Chandler Business Alliance, which is a well-run networking group in Chandler, and it's a great community of referrals, and they've got a lot of nonprofits in there as well. So some of those.
Yeah, great for referral partnerships and clients.
Yeah, I also work with ASU Lodestar, which is the nonprofit arm of Arizona State, and so I both teach for them as well as serve on their leadership council. So.
Oh, you probably know a few of my other clients then. I know I'll have to get involved in that as an alum of ASU. What about working with other fellow business owners, how has that helped shape or grow your business?
Okay, you want to go first this time?
Sure. I think you always learn so much when you work with other business owners. Like they're doing different things, or they've read different business books than you have, so they're implementing different strategies. Like I learned an entire EOS system from another business owner that I work closely with that was just a total game changer for business in general. And you can build a network, you can get ideas, you can relate on so many levels of misery. And then you can also just say, okay, there's another person going through the same challenges that I am, but this is how they've overcome it already, or they're on the other side of this negative that I'm currently in, or whatever it is. So I do think that there's a huge value in having a network of people who are like-minded.
Absolutely, going through the same muck.
Right.
Todd, what about you?
Yeah, it's been just amazing how gracious the community is out there, and just sharing knowledge, resources, referrals. And Kelly, you've referred, several people to me, within days of meeting, and that happens a lot. And I try to return that favor whenever possible. And certainly, just referrals, and even systems, telling you their secrets on what sales tactics they're using and how to use LinkedIn properly and all this stuff. It's just really been so grateful for how gracious everyone's been.
Yeah. I think the more we help each other, the better our community is, right? The more we lean into helping each other, the more we all grow. So that's definitely, and like you said, the secrets, they don't have to be secrets. You know what I mean? Like share them freely. We all can rise together. Right. So we wanted to have a few minutes to any advice, tools, both, any advice to newer entrepreneurs, or people that are struggling in business ownership. Is there a piece of advice that you think that they should know, Todd?
I mean, I think really that planning ahead, as painful as it is, even if it's painful from a cash flow standpoint, planning ahead, what's that next thing for things? I say, the lawyer and the accountant were the first things I hire, and just expensive startup costs, but it prevents so many headaches down the road. And, so do that wherever you can. Just invest in the systems and the people, a little bit before you're ready for it. And that's probably been my biggest learning so far.
Yeah. What about you, Julia? Any advice?
Yeah, I think know your metrics, kind of goes along to what Todd said, make sure you know your metrics, like have a company scorecard. If you have employees, make sure you have an employee scorecard so they understand what their expectation is, what they need to do, they know where they stand. That it saves a lot of time and explanation if it's just all black and white printed of this is what you're doing. So I think the metrics and scorecard are huge for business success. I also would recommend a book called The Motive by Patrick Lencioni, which talks about two different types of leadership, whether it be reward or responsibility motivated leadership. I think that's a great book for people to read because that will tell you like if you're in the right role for your company, or if you need to be in a different role and then hire somebody to be in that other role for your business. Because I do see a lot of entrepreneurs that fight that, where they're just in the wrong position for their business. They should maybe be the accountant and they need to hire the leadership person, or they're in the leadership, role and they're really solid that, and they think they can do accounting, but they can't, and they should not. So I think it's a lot of that, but it's a real easy read. And I think that would be a good book for anybody who's new and starting to just dig into.
Yeah, good. And have you guys read the book, What is Marketing? Yeah, that's a great, basic understanding of marketing. You were talking about The Motive, but and I think like knowing a little bit of enough to then hire out everything, like do it long enough until you can afford it, but then immediately outsource. My coined phrase is do what you love and outsource everything else. Like make sure, and that's the book title that's coming. My book's coming out in a few months. Is that like hire the accountant, hire the attorney, hire the marketing team, hire the people, because you should not be doing all of that yourself. They'll never be able to scale and or not burn out before it's too late to do that. So yeah, I love both of your advice. I think it's been we've given a lot of good tips and tricks, and any other last thoughts, ideas? Oh, how about a tool that you think business owners should be using, Todd?
Well, I hate to say it, but if you're hesitant on something like Calendly, I think we all hated it when it first started showing up and thought it was cringy, but it is just a lifesaver. So Calendly or a Calendly type tool is just it's just a great tool, and people are really embracing it.
Saves so much time of back and forth and pushes everything forward faster. I think you're right. Good. Julia, a tool that you think everybody should know about?
Yeah, something I just discovered actually in the past 30 days is Upwork. And I had to hire, a few people kind of spontaneously. And I was like, you know what, let me just figure this out. We just try to do it. Drafted the ad for me, put it up there, hired the people. They were wonderful, got the job done. I was like, man, this is very helpful. If you just need a quick job done and you can go on a site like that and hire the person, not have to fill out, you don't have to fill out any paperwork. You'd pay them through there. It's just all done for you. I think it would save a new business owner a lot of time if they have some administrative tasks they just need completed, or some data scraping or whatever they need to get done. I would look at a tool like that and really utilize it, because there's people from all over the world that you can hire that could be working while you're sleeping. And it's a really, really cool thing. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with it, but it was really neat.
Yeah. Good. Well, I think there's so many good takeaways and advice for business owners, and know that you're not alone in in the struggles and building out your communities and helping your nonprofits and supporting each other, I think is really important. And you guys are so good at that. So I appreciate you both being on the show with me today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
We're hoping today's conversation has sparked ideas for how you can grow, streamline, and or scale your business without burning out. None of us need the burnout, right? We want to keep going and keep giving our gifts to the world, and you don't have to do it alone. We hope you have had a good time today, and you've been listening to Collaborative Connections with Kelly Lorenzen. Remember, do what you love and outsource everything else. Until next time, happy connecting.